Yeah, we're going.
We're on into it. We're on.
We're already on. Boom. Episode 12, Squeeze the Neck podcast, back at the home of Jiu-Jitsu, New School Brixton. And behind us, we've got former guest, failed Jiu-Jitsu participant, now full-time janitor of New School, Patrick Connect. Anyways, today we've got Reese Bailey. But Reese Bailey, correct me if I'm wrong, is a stage name.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to speak about that, or is it hush-hush?
No, it's cool. Bailey, Bailey is definitely a stage name. My real name is Reese. Thanks for getting out there. But, yeah, call me what you like.
Call you what I like, can I? All right. Give me a minute, I think it's something good. But because the reason I bring it up is because I knew you years ago, boxing, obviously, at Elsfield, the home of boxing.
Hang on. Wait a sec. I didn't know I was going to get into that. It's that quick.
We come prepared on Squeeze the Neck. Oh, he hasn't. He's got the shirt on.
Yeah, for those who know.
If you know, you know. And if I'm correct, there's something on the back of that one too, right? Turn around, those were the days. Can't really see it, it's a bit warm. Yeah, that with ABC.
Sid branding was never made for that self-promo.
Long term.
But if you can, it does say Elsfield ABC.
S 1945, just after the war. But yeah, we met there back in the day, right? When did you start boxing? Let's start with that. I was going to ask you where you're from.
Elsfield, or when did I start
in
boxing?
Total, yeah.
I started my dad and my uncle were like were very into boxing when I was young. My dad really tried to get me into boxing. I did a lot of other stuff, like I did taekwondo and everything else, but I didn't do boxing. I used to do pads quite a lot at home. So I started young, but I wasn't at a club. The first place I actually joined was Fight Factory in Pearly Way, which I don't even think is there anymore.
No.
I don't think it's there anymore. My mate used to run that guy called Sibs, close to Sib. Then I went to Battersea, which was like my first actual club.
Yeah.
And I used to bash about everyone in Battersea, and I thought I was the man.
Uh-huh.
And then they took me to my first competition, like my first bout, and I got beat up by this other guy.
Oh, so you actually boxed at Battersea before you?
Yeah. I had my first fight for Battersea.
All right.
And that's what I say. Like I thought I was a lot better than I was.
Yeah, we've all been humbled though.
And I got humbled, but I got humbled by like this big African guy who just windmilled.
Yeah.
And it just nothing like I was learning or was doing worked in that match. It just turned into a scrap. And then from that moment, that's when I left Battersea. No, nothing bad against Battersea, but that's the moment I left and I came to Elsfield. And that's when I actually properly learned.
How old are you at this point, mate?
I think I must have been about 15.
All right, so still young, still really young.
15, 16. No older than that. I was still in school.
Yeah.
That's when I joined up at Elsfield. And I knew a few boys that from their previous, like Louis. I knew Louis from school.
Louis Adolphi,
yeah.
Shout out Lewis. I've been chasing him to get on this. He keeps ducking me.
He's
listening. I'm coming for you, Lou.
And obviously I met people like yourself. I was there until I think I stopped. I think I left Elsfield around about when I was about 20, 21.
Yeah, I was still young. Yeah, it goes fast, doesn't it? It felt like we was there forever.
I felt like I was there forever. But yeah, that was like my stint at Elsfield.
And what next? Was that boxing done for you?
Yeah, I think like I took a big break. I took a big break from boxing. Sorry, the janitor's making a lot of noise.
You missed the spot. Huh?
Do you know what I mean? Like you sprayed it here, but you haven't cleaned. But you just I just took a big break. I remember like when I went Iron Apple. I went Iron Apple with Bradley. You know Bradley Ski. And who else was with us? They why's his name gone out of my head?
What's he look like?
Olympics.
Joe Joyce?
No. Before that. James DeGill.
Sorry, right.
I don't know why James's name went out of my head.
From Dal Youth, you went with us.
We all went Iron Apple, like, I think it must have been like 2008. And I swear that sort of changed everything for me. Mm-hmm. I think when I came back, I just didn't get back into boxing as much. Like I came back and then I went away a week after with Ricky Boylan. Yeah. Shout out Ricky.
Remember Ricky? Yeah,
Ricky Boylan. We went to, where's another little party island? I came up from Iron Apple and then
Zante was round at the time.
Zante. Yeah, that's in Greece, right? Yeah, we went Zante. So I just started partying. Yeah. Because like, I don't know if you probably the same, but when I used to box, when I was at Elsfield, like we was like living like almost like little professional athletes. Like I used to run every night. I was constantly watching my weight. If I did go out, I didn't used to drink. You know what I mean? Like I drink water and Red Bull. Yeah. Like that was like normal for me. And when I went Iron Apple, like that just changed. And then when Zani and I was just drinking, and I come back and I was just on more of those sort of parties in the UK. And then I kind of just slowly took a step back from boxing.
Yeah, and it's hard too, isn't it? Like you touched on, where it's like you're training like pros, like you're constantly starving, aren't you, to make weight?
Constantly,
because the weights, we'll get into the weights in a bit too, but we made like weights that, if you look at the both standing, it's crazy.
Silly
weight, but it's like, you know, you're training 3 hours a session, aren't you?
Yeah.
3 times minimum.
Yeah.
You're pressured a bit to come on another day and all that kind of stuff, and then, as you say, running, doing all the stuff, and you don't know what you're doing because you're young, right? So we're just like starving and not drinking.
It's just normal, and like Sid was pretty notorious for like, he didn't have much sympathy for you. You're like, he's trying to make you cut weight. You're like, Sid, I haven't eaten it all day. Like, you'd be like, go for a run. Like, get on the scales, go for a run. Like,
not the most politically correct man in the world.
No, but he'll get the job done. Like, I always say, like, for anyone like asking now, like, I haven't been there in years, but I know, like, I've seen clips of like what they're doing. I always advise people when they're like, oh, I want to get into boxing. If you want to take it seriously, like Ellsfield is a great place.
Yep, home of champions, right? That's what it breeds it. I was there a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, when things started opening out from lockdowns and stuff. And it's on, man. It's pressure. You know, it was hard training. There's no, as you said, there's no break. It's like 3 hours of training. Then at the end of training, you're on a 5 mile or maybe 3 mile run, probably the Ellsfield run, right? And then
literally,
then the sit-ups, all that stuff, the prison run. Yeah, so you're running and you're doing all that kind of stuff.
It'll definitely get you fit. It'll definitely it has got its own style of boxing, which is quite traditional, like jab, right hand. Yeah, like that is there. I don't know if that's changed, but that was it.
That's why I get a lot of stick, because I was a bit more come forward.
Yeah, like you want to swing. Even myself, like I liked to box with my hands down and counter, and Sid used to go crazy.
Yeah, didn't like that.
When you did listen to what you got to do, I did have a lot of success. I had a good time there, man.
And
I did actually go back about 5 years ago, and I had a white collar fight.
All right.
I trained at Ellsfield for a bit, and I was sparring with Joe Joyce and that. I got fighter of the night.
Yeah, in the white collar show. Yeah,
in the white collar show, fighter of the night.
They called it a sandbag where it's like. He's boxing at Oxford, turns up on a white collar show. And what weight did you? Before we say about weights, what weight did you do for the white collar?
The heavyweight.
Heavyweight.
Yeah, I went into this white collar and I had a guy that I was meant to be fighting, and I was heavy at the time. I was in the 90 kilos. Yeah. And the guy I was fighting was closer to like 80, so I was dropping weight. I was dropping a lot of weight training for it, and then he pulled out like a week before. And then there was a heavyweight who was a lot heavier than me that said I could fight him instead, and I said, all right then. And then that was it.
And you boxed him up because you got fighter of the night. Did you stop him?
No, I couldn't stop
him. Couldn't stop him. He was just too big.
He just kept walking forward. I just kept pop moving. But yeah.
And how tall are you? What are you, 6'1"?
6'1".
Yeah, 6'1". So when we used to box, just for comparison, we boxed on the same cards where you were 69 kilos. 69 kilos, yeah. And he boxed the heavyweight on a white collar show. Yeah. So it just shows you.
My actual lowest I got to was 67 for. So basically, I lost 3 fights at Ellsfield, and 2 of them were at Haringey.
Yeah,
do you remember the tournament?
I was there.
Like, I think it still
remember being in a bus on the way back with you when Sid was giving it to us about when we boxed.
But yeah, Sid made me get down. Like I can't remember who. Someone in our club was also 69, and he didn't want us both in the same category, so I had to go down.
There was a few. There would have been like Paul Simmons, Michael Dimitrisak, the Ukrainian fella. There was a few around that time. Robert Garvey, but he was probably open class.
It might have been Robert. It might have been Robert. I couldn't imagine Sid making me go down for any of the others.
No.
But Robert or someone like
that was around. There was a lot. It was popular because I couldn't quite make 69. I was struggling like bad. And if like the weights changed for Olympic years, didn't they? So like it was either 67, 71, 75. And if it was, I could just about make 71. But 69 was like, nah. So if there was no 71, I was screwed. And then I've told this on here before, but I turned up at like the Southwest Novices once and I weighed 69.8. And I got on the scales and Sid come over, looked at the scale and went, I just boxed at 75 then, eh? Starving for a week. I'm dead on the scales, and now I ain't got to make it anyway. So yeah, I'm done with that weight cutting shit. It was a long time ago, wasn't it?
That's even like I take that into now. Like I don't really like to cut weight. For jiu-jitsu, I won't cut weight. I'll if I'm very close, I will. But like somebody was asking me the other day, Rahman. He's like, do you reckon I can lose 5 kg for this tournament?
For what?
That's what I said to him. I said why? And he said, I'm normally quite heavy for my category. Now I'm heavier. I'm like, just fight at whatever weight you are. Why are you going to kill yourself? No. But I get it. People do it, and
levels count too, obviously. But like, especially jiu-jitsu, I'd rather feel good and go up against a bigger guy, right? What's the point? 100%. You're not getting punched in the head the same way. It's different, isn't it? But even for boxing, I turned up once. I boxed in Dartford with Ellsfield, and I was just fucking wrecked, man. And like I got in there, and I think I got a split decision or something. But you know, you're just flat. And like,
it does.
I'm never doing this again. Why am I doing it? You do because it makes you. But you know what I mean? You
notice it. You feel lifeless, isn't it?
It's worse than being. it's worse than being smaller. I've said this on here before with different people. I'd rather feel good and fight a big lump because you feel yourself and you can do your thing.
You see, when you watch like the UFC 24/7, or when you watch behind the scenes, you watch the Habib's camp and you see them with the towels and they're sweating out. You're like, but these lot have done it the right way.
Yeah.
Like they're dying, but they've still done it the right way.
They've got the nutritionist. They've got the right way to do it. They've also got 36 hours to fight time.
Yes.
Like when we're doing it on an amateur boxing show, we've got maybe sometimes
wake
45
up,
minutes.
Don't drink.
That's the one.
Go weigh in.
Yeah.
And then I remember like you'd have gone Sainsbury's like on the way to the comp, and you might buy like something you think's gonna refuel you, like a pasta or something.
Pasta and a can of Coke or something just to get you sorted.
It's not the one, man.
Nah, it's not the one at all. I drank one of them litres of Innocent Smoothie once.
Yeah.
Felt terrible after. But so we've gone from boxing, obviously, when we knew each other. We didn't see each other for sort of probably
long time.
10 years in the middle, I guess. And I went and started jiu-jitsu sort of earlier. Yeah. And then when you came in, I recognised you instantly. But what threw me was the name thing I mentioned at the start. You was Reece Bailey, and I was like, nah, that ain't him. Maybe it's him. Maybe it's him. Maybe it ain't him. But it was obviously you. And now tell us where you started jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu, well, like the whole time I've always been into like whatever it was, taekwondo, kickboxing. I've done it all, boxing for a long time. Took a break. I played a lot of sports and rugby and that, but I've always been involved in like just wrestling, not in a club, just with your mates. Yeah, me and my mates, even till now, they still think they can wrestle me. Like my mates.
Grown men wrestling in your
bedroom. No longer that. Yeah, but I used to always like to wrestle, and I think I've realised as I'm growing up, as I'm a visual learner. So when we're doing these things in wrestling, I would end up armbarring or choking them out. And I think I've never learned this, but so one time I met Reece, the real Reece Bailey, the actual Reece Bailey,
not the knockoff Reece Bailey,
not the knockoff Reece Bailey, the real Reece Bailey, at a mutual friend's house, and he was like just sitting there on the floor, like the skinny guy, just sitting there with his legs crossed on a laptop, teaching them accounts. So I've gone to my mate's house. There's like 6 people there, and Reece is there teaching them. I don't know who this is. Anyway, because I'm amongst my friends, we're talking about fighting. They're saying to me, they're trying to set me up, say, why don't you fight him then? Like, roll around with him. And I've looked at him, and I can feel that there was sort of some tension in the air, like, or they know something I don't know. So I spoke to him, and he was like, oh yeah, I do jiu-jitsu. And I recognized him because I'd seen his page. He'd come up on my thing, and I was just sitting there looking. I was like, oh, he's a world champion Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy. And he's telling me, this was during lockdown, by the way, like coming to the end of lockdown. And he was talking to me about he's setting up a club down the road in Norbury. He wants to get champions. He wants to get people to fight. And I said to him, like, I'm telling him, like, oh, I do this. And he showed me a Von Flue choke. And that blew my mind. I said to him, I normally fight with my friends and I normally win. He said, how? I said, I'll either like guillotine him or an armbar. And he said, do you know the counter to a guillotine? And I was like, no. So he let me put him in a guillotine, and he Von Flue choked me. And that moment I was like, I need to learn this. Like, my mind was blown. I was like, I want to come and learn. And from then, I've been training with Reece as if I'm a pro athlete.
Nice.
I'm not, but like I went in heavy. Like, I've been training for I'm in like 3.5 years, 4 years now. But when I say that, I've been training with Reece for that time. And I've been training like on as close to his schedule as I could. Like I was training like every day, maybe twice a day, going up to Apex and like rolling in the comp classes, coming up to Battersea. That's when I met you at Battersea. So I've just stuck at it, and then jiu-jitsu for me, I've just stuck to it. Like, this is the sport for me. I wish I did this. No disrespect to boxing or Ellsfield, but I wish I did jiu-jitsu from the beginning.
Yeah.
You know
but we're here now. But I think the experience in boxing helps with this.
100%.
Because when you come in, you was a bit like me. You was one of them people that was good for a white belt quick.
Yeah.
I don't know about you for the next bit, but I kind of stalled quick too. I felt like I was pretty good for a beginner.
Yeah.
And then I got to sort of 6 or 9 months in, and because I was using sort of the old school sort of strength and athleticism, I got to a point where it was like I couldn't get over the hump, and I was still getting wrecked by blue belts. Do you know what I mean? So I had to rewind it and go through it again. But he was definitely one of them guys that came in.
Funny enough, like, true story. I won't say any names because you might watch this. Small circle, innit?
Careful.
When I met Reece, I was telling him, I said, I think I'll do pretty good. I came to his class and I tapped out his blue belt. So I was like,
have that.
I went home, I was gassed. I watch white belts do that now. Like a white belt might tap me, and I can imagine him going home and talking about it. But I'm like, mate, like, I was giving you that. Do you know what I mean? I was giving you that a chance. But I was very impressed with myself.
And what level was Reece when he Von Flue choked you? Are we talking blue, purple? He was purple already. So
I met Reece at purple belt. And you know Reece, like, he's been like a competitive athlete from like white belt, I think. Definitely from blue belt, but he's like
always white belt. He's always
he's been serious. Like, from when I met Reece at purple belt, people were saying he should be a brown belt. Like, he should be a belt. I met him at that stage. And then,
And by comparison, also, when you say about the size, like you're comfortably 20 kilos bigger, right?
100%.
Easy, probably more.
Easily,
So for him to von Flue choke, for anyone who doesn't know what von Flue choke is, it requires not physicality necessarily, but it's not an easy one to get off. Do you know what I mean? And against someone who's much bigger, who's bashing up all his mates in his bedroom, like it's a serious thing. So that hooked you from then. And so you just started training with him, simple as that.
Loved it from then, and I'm just addicted to it. I'm a nerd for jiu-jitsu. Like I study quite a lot from the moment I started. Like with me, and if I didn't understand something, or if I got stuck, I literally like to figure that out, and I'd study it. And I've been like that from the beginning. So everything Reese teaches, I've just constantly gone home and stuff. I've been like, I'm just a bit of a nerd.
Yeah. And do you think boxing helped you?
I think everything I've done in the lead up till now has definitely played a part and helped. Whether it's like the boxing, rugby, everything, just being like engaged or like wanting to get involved.
Yeah, being athletic helps.
Being athletic,
I think doing something. I don't think you have to start as a kid, but you have to do something. You can't be a geezer that comes in at 24, having never done anything, and then start. But you're also a YouTube guy, which is why I wanted to get you on here as well, because we're building, right, and we're coming for Fighter and the Kids. So Fighter and the Kids watching this, Brendan Sharp and whatever your face is, coming for you, bitch. So tell us about your YouTube stuff, mate.
What in general, away from jiu-jitsu?
Away from jiu-jitsu, and then I want to tie it in,
Now my YouTube's like complete. It's funny enough, right? My YouTube is completely nothing to do with jiu-jitsu. I've been doing it for a while, and it started off by making content with friends, family, vlogs and stuff, like whatever was going on in my life, nothing in particular. Started trying to turn it a bit more entertainment and actually like making games and that. And then when I did start jiu-jitsu, I did make a video like my first week when I went Apex and got beat up by everyone.
Yeah.
But I never continued it. I never made it part of my YouTube journey. Probably because I'm watching a lot of YouTube instructionals and stuff for jiu-jitsu. So I'm thinking they look good. I don't look like that yet, so I don't want to post. In hindsight, I wish I did. I wish I had like a catalogue of YouTube of my whole journey from being crap to wherever I am now. Do you know what I mean? Like I might think I'm good now, but in a year's time, I'll probably look back at now and think crap.
Yeah.
But I wish I did make that more of the journey. You know what I mean? So with that in mind, like it's not too late, but I could start now. But yeah.
And is that on the horizon? Is it? It sounds like there's a bit of a.
It's something I think about a lot. I just haven't done it.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Do you know what it is? I feel like the world doesn't care about jiu-jitsu, and I'm too worried about what the world cares about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get
Whereas
it.
jiu-jitsu is getting way more popular now.
Yeah. Massively so.
So
massively.
it's probably a good time to sort of.
And it goes fast too. Like when I started, I've been in jiu-jitsu sort of 9 odd years already, and like the difference between now and then, like when I started and I was telling people I was doing jiu-jitsu, most people didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
And it ain't that long ago, really. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think they do now.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot more people would, right? Yeah. You know, like people, like I pick up my mate's boy sometimes from school, and he comes out bouncing out, and if I've got the hoodie on or whatever, one of the dads is asking me about like fucking what kung fu I do or whatever, but he knows it. Do you know what I mean?
Annoy you?
No, not really, because
anytime someone refers to what I do as anything but jiu-jitsu, like if someone says, "Oh, have you got karate later?" or
no, to be honest, I'm bullshitting. Most people say jiu-jitsu because it says jiu-jitsu on the back. So if they're fucking that up, I don't know what to tell them. But they, everyone seems to know it, and you get like the dads that sort of, bit of a derby on, and they're in their 40s. They want to ask you about it and sort of like.
Hang on a minute, can you hear that? Fucking.
It's the cleaner again. Is that what's he doing?
Are you messing about with a plastic bag or like you nearly finished?
Pat, jump in, come say hello. Come get on so we can see your face. Friend of the show, former guest. On he comes, shoes off on the mat, please, sir. He's got Christmas socks on in the middle of June. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, making enough noise in the background.
Pat, say hello to the camera.
This is someone you lot interviewed the other day. Is probably like my number one training partner.
Number one training partner, yeah. He's another one like you who came in and just took to it instantly, right? And started. This is his episode, bro. You can go.
Yeah, that's it.
That's enough. Don't take the biscuit.
Get the bag out and just. Keep it a bit shush, yeah. You've had your time.
No, but yeah, he's another one that's super dedicated. He's always here. Every time I turn up, he's here. Always late, but he's always here anyway. But no, he's there's certain people that come in and there that behind you, or not behind you, but they start after you, and you've already been doing it for a few years, and they come in and you can see they're sort of they got something about them, haven't they? Do you know what I mean?
He didn't.
He's been coated off rotten today. But I mean, it's fun seeing you coming from boxing because like I always I was always the boxer that came to jiu-jitsu. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now, like, it's a bit different now because people are a bit more open-minded. But if we went down to Ellsfield and told them we was doing jiu-jitsu,
they wouldn't. Like,
might be frowned upon.
Yeah,
it might be frowned upon.
I think people that don't do jiu-jitsu, especially people that box and haven't ever done jiu-jitsu, probably don't rate it as much as they would if they gave it a go.
But you don't, like, I would have been there too. If you'd have told me at 18, 19, 20 about jiu-jitsu, I'd have been like, just punch him in the face, I'll be fine, you know? But then, you know, you figure it out, don't you? You know, we've all been at that time where you go in and someone's choking with a gi on your first lesson and you're like,
humbling.
But I guess if you're looking to learn it, you're ready for that and you know that's coming, right? We've seen people come in here, again, no names, but come in here, that think they're going to take on the house, right? And they come 2 or 3 times and you never see them again.
That's it.
But
it's a very humbling. Jiu-jitsu compared to boxing, I think it's a sport that you get humbled in very quick. Whereas I think you can go into boxing and probably spend a long time hitting the bags, pads, and sparring the same people, and not actually get humbled.
And you can hide from it. And also with the difference between boxing and jiu-jitsu, jiu-jitsu is very much a learning environment. Whereas boxing, you kind of go through a period of hitting the bag and doing that, but you also go through a period when you start sparring and getting the fuck beat at you.
There you go.
And it is what it is, isn't it? You know what I mean? And you start stepping up.
You know what the difference is? I don't think I've ever really experienced watching somebody at a boxing gym getting beat up by a female half their size.
Never.
Whereas I've seen people come here and get thrown about by a little girl. Or not necessarily thrown about, but literally choked out. Yeah. So that I feel like there's the difference. Like that's like a very humbling experience, and a lot of people can't come back to that, you know?
No. And a lot of people, they come and they're really keen and they do one session, you never see them again. And nothing's happened to them. No, they just never come back, innit? And
a lot of people a lot of people gravitate to sports that they're sort of good at, you know? Like you normally look for a sport that I'm quite good at this, I'll stick to it. Jiu-jitsu for a lot of people, like not for myself, maybe not for you or like Pat, like we say, but a lot of people, where I teach here now, I literally deal with the beginners, and a lot of people aren't good at jiu-jitsu.
No.
Like, and that's not a problem. You're not really supposed to be. A lot of people come in and it's like, do a front roll. And it's like, what? How do I do a front roll? It's like, it's crazy. Or like, you're telling people like, move your right hand and moving the left hand. It's like, some people is like that. That is the thing. And for some people, it's like, you could look at that and think, this ain't for me. Or the people that get good are like, they try to figure it out. That's the thing. I think a lot of people, if you went boxing, you weren't good, you probably just wouldn't go back.
And no one's going to give a fuck.
And no one's going to care.
You're just going to get, you're going to be, you know what that's like too. If you go to boxing and because we do a lot of rotations, right? You do half a round with you and then I'll do half a round with him, then I'll rest and so on. And it's like, if there's a geezer that's the weak one in that group, you know what you're doing in that round, don't you? You're taking that round as like, this is my time to sort of shine, or take a break or whatever you need to do. Whereas jiu-jitsu is a little bit different because you can get a good workout out of anyone really, even if you give them bad position, because you're not getting punched in the head, so you can give them your back, you can sort of play the game. But I don't think it'd go down too well if you started giving your back to people in the boxing ring. But so we've gone through your jiu-jitsu journey. You've done a lot of competitions, right? And you've won some stuff lately.
I've done a few. I haven't done as many as people think I have. A lot of people think I've competed more than I have. Probably because I'm there. I'm always at the comps. I spent a lot of my jiu-jitsu journey injured. Like I've had a couple. I've had one surgery.
Is this purely from jiu-jitsu, the injury?
But I don't want to scare people off. Like my injuries have come from freak things happening. Like I've had a knee injury, I tore my shoulder, broken a couple of toes.
But no big deal.
no big deal, you know. But like I say, like that, like my white belt, like I didn't compete as much as I wanted at white belt. I competed twice at white belt, and I wanted to compete a lot, but I spent the majority of white belt too injured to actually compete. Since I got to blue belt, I've competed a few times. So like I've done well when I have competed, but I haven't competed as much as I'd like.
But how's the body now? You come back
my
from
body's good. Like like that's the thing. I think I started jiu-jitsu at 31, so I'm not a young fresh lad. So you're now doing things that your body is not really used to. And like I say, I had quite a lot of confidence. So I'm going. I'm training every day. I'm not that flexible. My ability is not that great. So I was bound to get injuries. So anyone starting off in jiu-jitsu, if you're watching this and you're thinking that, like, try to figure out early if you've got mobility issues and like understand your body a bit. Because I didn't. No. And I just thought I can do this. Now, like 3-4 years later, I'm very conscious of mobility. Like I've worked on things. I've worked on opening my hips up a bit. I've worked on my knees, like how tight my hamstrings are. So now I don't really suffer any injuries. But when I hit the floor, hit the floor running? When I hit the floor running, I was hit the ground running. I was going for it and my body wasn't ready for it. So I did pick up quite a few injuries.
I think that's a big thing for a beginner too. Like people like yourself, and I was the same. When you start, you want to train every fucking day, twice a day, and all that stuff. But you're better off training, going home, resting, coming back a couple of days later when you're recovered, and doing it that way. And when you feel ready to do it, is when you can get going again. But take us through a week of training for you now, mate. So like you teach classes, obviously, so we'll include that in it. So like if we wake up on a Monday morning, well, you don't wake up. You don't wake up in the mornings. You wake up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I wake up at like 11.
That's why this podcast took so long, because every morning he's looked at me like, what are you talking about?
You're trying to get me to turn up in the mornings. And go,
he looked at me like I asked him something outrageous when I said like 9 o'clock. He looked at me like, what are you talking about, bro? 9 o'clock. I'm just going to bed. But yeah, so take us through a Monday and go through your week, mate.
A good week. Yeah. A couple of those mornings, I'll wake up and not early in the morning, but I'll go for a lunchtime morning class. I'll be teaching at 6 p.m. and then I'll be training at 7:45.
Yeah. So is this every day?
Monday to Thursday and Sunday. I don't train on Fridays and Saturdays.
Yeah. So that's essentially your weekend and your recovery day.
That's my weekend. Friday and Saturday is my weekends. But the rest of the week, like I say, if on a good week, I'll try and do my training in the lunchtime. But of lately, I'll be honest with you, since I've started teaching, I don't train as much as I'd like. You know,
but your mind's going.
Right? My mind's definitely going. My jiu-jitsu is definitely evolving in other ways. As in, like I've always said, like when I watched Reese teaching from Purple Bar, I'd always like think, where's your training? Because he's training with us, but his training was sort of coming from having to teach what he already knows and understand it better. So I see that when teaching, like I study what I already know just to make sure that I'm still teaching in a good way. So like my mind's evolving, but I've gone from whereas usually I would train 6 till 9, whereas now I'm teaching 6 till 7:30, and then I train 7:45 till 9. So it's halved it a bit, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying it. I feel like it is my next step. I've always liked showing other people stuff from early. Like I was one of those white belts that, you know, like you think you can teach everyone. And I look at them now, I watch white belts teaching white belts, and I'm like, I was one of those guys. So like some are good, some are bad. I'd like to say like I'd always teach what I'd been taught. I didn't really try to teach bullshit. But for my whole journey, I've kind of known, even Reese sort of knew, I'm probably gonna lean towards teaching as opposed to being a competitive athlete on a major scale. Like I'm a competitive athlete, but not on a major scale. Like Reese wants me to do majors more than I want to do majors. You know what I mean? I'm going to do a major.
You're going to do a
just
major.
To make him happy.
Is anything coming up? Do you want to share?
I'm going to do the Euros, which is... Where's the Euros next year, Pat?
17th of January.
Where? Portugal.
So if anyone didn't hear that, that's January 17th, you said, yeah? 2025.
January 17th, Portugal. I'm going to do that for Reese.
Is this
he will say don't do it for him, but I'm doing it. So like I said...
Gi or no gi?
Definitely the gi.
In the gi? Is there no gi section 2?
Yeah, I'm sure not on the same time.
Okay, not on the same time. I was going to say that my ears perked up there.
I
fancy a bit of Portugal.
They'll have their own Europeans for no gi, but it won't be the same time.
I got you.
Yeah, I'm talking about in the gi.
In the gi.
In the gi. I'm definitely. I do both, but I'm definitely more. I'm leaning more into no gi.
Yep.
But I'm definitely a gi guy.
Yeah, I haven't been in a gi since I got my brown belt. I haven't put the gi on at all, and I was here when one of our pals, Joe, got his purple belt, and I just got my brown belt and stuck it out on my no gi stuff, just to like feel part of it. I'm not actually wore the gi, so yeah. Reese is always shouting at me about the gi too. He thinks the gi is more jiu-jitsu, but
that's the thing. Like here at Brixton, at New School Brixton, like whatever you, even if you liked no gi more than gi, you're gonna do more gi.
Yeah, of course.
That we are transitioning and getting more no gi classes going, but this is a gi club.
Yeah, and a New School team is kind of the opposite. So you're gonna do bits and pieces, but it's basically a no gi club predominantly. Exactly. So New School covers it all, and Battersea is very much a bit of everything, whatever right? So whatever you want to do. So yeah, I'm a believer too that there's not as much difference between the two as people make out. Like if I'm in a gi, partly maybe style wise too, but like I don't notice an awful lot of difference. Do you know what I mean? There's certain things you've got to be aware of, but again, I say it's my style wise. I'm not pulling Spider Guard and Delahevas.
Yeah, I think like watching you in a gi, I feel like your game doesn't change much.
I'm
like
essentially
you're gonna do
thing.
no gi stuff in a gi, so I understand that. Like I think they both complement each other. I think no gi definitely complements the gi. Like if you just do no gi and you put a gi on, you're gonna feel a bit lost. If you do gi and then you train no gi, it's going to help your gi. That's how I look at it. it's like I've seen people say things, and at first I take a bit of offense to it, but like when I actually think about it, like some people say like the gi is like no gi with stabilizers on.
Yeah.
And in a way it is, but it also doesn't make it easier.
No,
that's the thing.
Not at all. Not at all.
I think in a gi, you have to have a bit more of an understanding of a position than without a gi. Without a gi, I think you can slip through a lot of it. Whereas in a gi, you might be stuck in there, so you might have to actually understand. It's like you get to see freeze frame the position a bit longer, and at the same time, you got to work your way out of it. So like, I like them both. That's why when I train no gi, I think it complements, because it's like then you can just go, you can slip around, but then when you put the gear on, you're going to get stuck in that position for a bit longer.
And there's pros and cons to that too, because it works both ways, right? In terms of controlling someone's heart with no gi, because they can slip out of it. In the gi. Like when I train gi, which is I try and do once a week normally. I haven't for a while, but like, I like to be in the gi. I do enjoy it, and I like to do positions like where I'll give someone my back and let them tie me up in the gi, because then, like you say, you got to think your way out of it. I can't just explode, grab the head, and all that kind of shit that we do, or I do in no gi anyway. But so from now till sort of it's January the competition, so we've got like a nice 6 month sort of run. When do you start sort of like training camp for that, or is it just carry on?
Like I said, like I'm more of a teacher / trainer than competitor. So I'm constant. My camp, as I get closer to it, we'll be training a lot here, like a camp, like we always do. But like I'm going to be competing at less major competitions in the lead up to it. Like I've got a comp coming up in July next month. It's just the All Stars. I'll just do all of the London sort of competitions.
Just because
I don't like traveling. I don't like traveling for comp. I hate it. So anything that's in and around, I'll try and get to that and win those. And then the major, I'll travel for that, and I'll go and do that.
That's nice, man. And what weight are you now?
I compete now.
No, sorry, sitting here today.
Today, I'm 85.
And you compete at what?
I just compete in the under 88s. I don't.
Oh right, so
you. Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I don't try to cut down to 82.
Perfect.
I just compete at whatever weight I'm at. I mean, if I was to jump on the scales and I was over 88, I'd probably pull yourself together.
Run fat boy.
I'll cut that off just because I know that I'm overweight. But I walk around naturally now, like when I'm training, and I'm not really dieting at all. I walk around about 85, 86 kilograms.
And how old are you now, mate?
35.
Yeah, 35. So that's mad, because when we was boxing, we was like 18s and 19s. It fucking flies by, didn't it? But what about other training, mate? Do you do any weights and things like that?
I do. I'm not that. I train maybe twice a week.
Because I remember, sorry to cut you off, I remember seeing you once at a boxing show. I think I boxed and you'd already stopped boxing. And you turned in and you was bigger, and you was telling me you was a gym boy now, and you was bench pressing all kinds of madness.
I was well into gym. I was huge.
How big did you get? Your biggest?
What weight?
I
think I was about 15 stone, but I had abs.
So it wasn't proper fat. Big, and this is just trying to get big, and
my goal was just to lift as heavy as I could. Like I was just, that's the thing. Like when I see people that train, the people I used to train with, and they still train the same now, I'm like, well, what's the end goal?
It's like, it never evolves.
It's just an aesthetic. You just want to look good, and that's great. But it's like as I know, the moment I stopped doing it, it all went. So it's like, it's not that interesting to me. Now, if I go gym, I'm definitely not lifting weights for aesthetics or to look good. I literally work on mobility.
What sort of stuff you do in the gym?
Range of motion.
If you go in the gym and you're doing one of your sessions,
if I went into the gym, it would be something along the lines of an ATG session. You know, like the knees over toes. Like I'm squatting and trying to get full range of motion and the different directions and stuff. That's the sort of training I'll be doing.
I do the same, and I like a lot of bodyweight stuff, like gymnastics, muscle body, and stuff like that.
I see you do your headstands and handstands.
And handstands, not headstands, bro. Headstands too. Here, headstands too, but handstand sounds better. But like, I like the rings, I like muscle ups, things like that. But also, I think me and you, we're sort of a similar age. He's a bit older, but we do. You're older than me.
How old are you?
Hey, look at his face. How old do you think I am?
Because I've just seen you from boxing till now. I just assumed we're the same.
I've just turned 22.
Shut up.
I'll be 34 in August.
Okay.
Shouldn't have said that on here. I'm fucking exposed myself. I try and identify as a 25-year-old, don't I, in class and that. But so I feel like we're not old, but maturity-wise, you've been around gyms and stuff so long. It comes to a point where you realise training's not for sort of like smashing yourself, right? It's to be good. So when you come here, everything's healthy. So I'm a big believer in the ATG stuff, the full range, all that kind of stuff, because I want to feel good. You know what I mean? If I'm getting injured in here, twisted fingers, twisted knees, whatever it is, you don't like it, but it's part of the territory, innit? If you get injured in the gym, like I've done before, trying to do mad stuff, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? I
think a lot of my injuries came from that as well. Like when I did when you remember me being big, if you actually could remember, my legs weren't big.
Yeah, I mean, you was like dressed up. We was at a boxing show.
I would have had big shoulders, big chest, big back, arms, my legs.
And what sort of numbers are you pushing then? And pulling and squatting or whatever?
The most I ever, that's what I'm saying, squatting,
didn't do.
I did, but not heavy.
Yeah.
Not in comparison to what I was doing on the upper body. Like upper body, I could easily do 5 reps of 3 plates.
Of bench press.
Bench press.
So which is about 140, right?
It's about 140. Yeah. The highest I ever got up to was about 150 something. And you start putting on the little plates.
So proper weight.
So I was lifting heavy weights, and it was normal. I could deadlift that as well. But when it comes to squatting, looking back now, I never used to like squatting.
Yeah.
But I understand my body now. Yeah. And it was to do with my hips and knee. Like I broke my ankle when I was young, like playing football. That alone, like before I did jiu-jitsu, I didn't really understand that was an issue. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
I'm exactly the same.
Ankle mobility.
Yeah. I had a broken ankle playing football myself, so I know.
So I had a stiff ankle, so I never used to know why I didn't like squatting. Yep. I just knew I didn't like it. And things like my hips and my ankles just didn't allow me to squat comfortably. Yep. And I never addressed it. I never like once thought, how can I fix this mobility? I'm just trying to squat. It's a bit, hurts a bit, leave it.
Don't bother.
I'll do something else. Whereas now, if I was to go gym now, like squatting every session, I'll do squatting. Yeah. Not heavy, but it's a part of it. And I've had to work on it. Like I'd have to put plates under my heels to raise, you know what I mean? Like, but when I was back in the day, like just going to the gym, I didn't understand my body. Yeah. I think jiu-jitsu actually made me understand my body or made me have to pay attention.
And you have to be honest, don't you? Because you're coming in here, you can't have a fucked up knee. You need to be sort of preparing it.
You could be shown a technique, and the technique requires you to do this with your foot, and you're like, you're gonna have to address it if you want to get better. So, like jiu-jitsu helped me understand my body more, go through injuries. Mm-hmm. When I started jiu-jitsu, I stopped gym. So I was going to the gym. Mm-hmm. Then I started jiu-jitsu.
Just cold turkey stopped.
Cold turkey, and I stopped going to the gym. And that's not a good idea either.
No.
Like people that do jiu-jitsu don't go gym, but like I say, like to prevent injuries and stuff, you do want to be strengthening up.
Especially when you're bench pressing, because it's very linear, right? You're strong there, but when this shit starts happening,
it's different. It's different. That's why I was getting shoulder problems.
That's why I like the rings, because it takes care of that kind of stuff for you. But just going back to your ankle, how's your ankle injury today now?
I don't notice it, but I do know like this ankle is stiffer than this. Like even with all of the work I'm doing, this ankle has less range of motion than this one.
That's interesting, because my experience, I had the same thing. I kicked and my foot overextended, but mine was fine. Like touch wood, I don't get anything from it. Again, maybe a bit stiff sometimes, but I'd never notice it. Do you know what I mean? And the reason I asked you about the weights too, because I was the opposite. I was like, bench press and whatever wasn't really my thing. I used to do it, but it wasn't, but squatting I was always strong at. And I wondered whether it wasn't because of the ankle, but I wonder if it's because I've made more attention to it because I've done the ankle. So
if you recovered, if you've done like rehab to it, it makes you have to do that.
And I was 17, I think, when I had surgery. So your body bounces back when it did it as well. How old was you?
When I
surgery
for the knee,
for the ankle. No, sorry, the ankle.
For the ankle. I never had surgery.
Oh, you never?
I never had surgery. I never actually. I remember I rolled it badly at a five-a-side once, and I had a huge golf ball on it. My ankle was just stiff, and it became one of those ankles that I used to just roll constantly. Yeah. Every time I used to have to play football with like this little ankle splint, which I tied up, and it literally used to hold my ankle dead straight. And I'd play football like Sunday league and Saturday league like that.
Oh wow!
And I just was constantly aware of it. It was like I couldn't play without it. If I didn't have it on, my ankle would roll. Oof. So I for years I did that. So now it doesn't bother me, but I can feel that I've had an injury there that I never corrected.
Yeah.
And going to do a squat or something like that, that's when I've noticed it.
Yeah.
Like, ooh.
But you don't notice jiu-jitsu now, so
not really. No, not so much now because I've worked on it and I'm not exactly squatting. But when I do go and do my squats, I'd raise my heels. Like I notice that weightlifters have elevated
proper
heels.
Shoes,
But that's because of ankle mobility. If you sorted out your ankle mobility, you wouldn't need to really elevate your heels, would you?
I mean, I think you probably get a bit more out
of it. Get a better push.
You get more lift and whatever. I'm sure the position of the foot. I've done a bit of Olympic lifting. And sort of delved
done a bit of everything,
done a bit of everything, like one of them. I think, like, give me that tennis racket. But I tried a lot of things to sort of for looking after my body for the other sports I did, and that's kind of why I come. Not to make it about me, it's easy episode, but like when I want to talk about me for 5 minutes. No, it's like when I was boxing for like conditioning. That it's the old school, and it's like just run and push up and starve.
Literally.
So I started getting into like Olympic lifting and CrossFit and shit like that, just to sort of help. But my issue with it, and I think a lot of people fall into this in jiu-jitsu, is doing too much of it. So like conditioning to a fault, like you're doing weights 5 days a week, it's fucking up your other training, which is a whole different argument, because people like Reese, our guy here, he's, from my knowledge, I might be wrong, but I don't think he does any weights. He just does jiu-jitsu.
Reese is a freak. Nobody should come into jiu-jitsu and try to like live like Reese.
But a part of me wonders where he's kind of just like, don't do anything else, all I do is jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, maybe.
His body just adapts to that.
I've never seen him with a serious, like, touch wood. I don't want to, like,
don't jinx him.
Don't jinx him. I've never seen him with a serious injury. I've never seen him have to do any recovery. I've even seen him have a serious injury in a comp, like someone popped his knee.
Yep.
And he complained about it, and he was in the gym the next day. And I'm like, is your knee all right? He's like, yeah, it just hurts a bit. Carried on.
Yeah. I had a similar one with him years and years ago. He was rolling next to me, and his foot got caught in a gi, and it twisted and popped loud. I don't know what happened, but it was like bad. And he was again back. Seemed like he was back the next day. Nothing happened. So I wonder if there's something to that. All this weight shit we're doing is not the answer. But yeah, he's a freak anyway. I think he heals fast and he does his thing. Right. So tell me what's next for you, mate, with jiu-jitsu. Long-term goals. I mean, obviously
long-term goals. Other than competing, like getting one major out of the way. I'm like I said, I'm more focused. Like Reese has pushed me more into teaching, which like even as a blue belt, like I always feel like I wish I wasn't a blue belt teaching. You know, like I feel like like sometimes my class will have like a brown belt return up, or like, I've got to teach a class.
But that's good because that puts you on the spot, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've got a brown belt in the class. I'm sitting there teaching. I'm wondering who he's thinking, shut up. Teaching is definitely my calling. I love it. Yeah. I've always liked helping people on the mats. I always study, so any techniques we learn, I've always gone ahead and tried to learn the opposite or the counters to it, and then come in and drill it. I always go further with whatever we're learning. I feel like I've got quite a lot of knowledge for what I have, for what I do know. Obviously, I don't have all the knowledge at all, but I love helping other people, and that's always been me in the gym. And now that I teach the beginners, I teach one advanced class and the majority beginners classes. I do enjoy it. It's a bit frustrating, like working with people from the beginning all the time. I'd like to.
Bare bones beginners can be tough.
Bare bones beginners, I love them, but I hate them at the same
time. I tell you when if it's hard is when you've got a class of people that ain't, and you've got 3 or 4 on the side. That's when it's hard.
That's where, that was last night's issue.
Is that right?
Yeah. I had 4 people the first day.
But we've all been there, right? And we're all part of it.
I've got patience for everyone. Yeah. Like, I understand. Like, I fully get it. It seems silly, but like, you come to class and I'll say, I'm going to explain to you how to do a front row, and I think, why am I supposed to forget? Like, people can't do it. And especially like we touched on a bit earlier, if you get into jiu-jitsu in your 30s and you've never done anything since you left school PE, like to roll and you've been sitting in an office chair all day is a fucking thing, isn't it? 100%.
But is it something you're looking to do sort of long term to get your own gym and do all that kind of thing?
I mean, whether it's in my own gym or here as an instructor, like I see myself, I want to raise like Pat, like I don't know how he sees our relationship, but from the moment I've met Pat to when we become like training partners, his aspirations is to be like a world champion. I like to, when I study and stuff, I like to help Pat. Yeah. Like I like to show him.
And he's also a lot younger, right?
He's
what, 8 years younger than you, something
like
that?
Our relationship is complete. Like, for example, if I'm rolling with Pat and he does something wrong, or if I know something he doesn't, I'll always, at the end, do you know that when I do this, you should try to do this or that? If Pat's got a one-up on me, he's not telling me.
No,
you know what I mean?
He's like, puts that in the back pocket.
He's not trying to help me understand it. You know, I've got to figure out myself. Whereas for me, like that's our sort of relationship. And that's my relationship with a lot of people in this gym. Is I try to help them. Like if Pat wants to go out and win the best, like I understand he needs to win, so I'll try and help him get there. I'll study something. If he all of a sudden for the last month he loves butterfly sweeps, I would go and learn the counters to butterfly sweeps, try and help him.
Just to shut him down.
Yeah, just to keep him honest, just to like keep working on it with him. Like put myself in those bad positions so he can work. So I'm learning a different way to him. Like he's perfect for that sort of thing. So that's sort of like, but I don't know if he sees our relationships quite.
He's like, fuck that guy. I'm going to tap that motherfucker.
Yeah, which is that's our relationship. That's why he's like my favorite sparring partner anyway.
Yeah. And how do you structure your training with that kind of stuff? Do you like to have regular partners, or do you like to just mix it up and spar with everybody?
I like to mix it up. Like I'd love to have regular partners, but I'm quite happy training with anyone. Like I've I was having this conversation with Reese actually, and maybe he can dive into it if he's ever on the show. But like
we'll get him. Don't worry, we'll get him.
He said something to me once that made a lot of sense. Where it's like people think you need to have world class training. You don't need to have somebody who's world class all around. No. You might have somebody in your gym who's just really good at half guard. Nothing else. He's crap everywhere else, but he's really good at half guard. And if you want world class training, you can literally put yourself in half guard with that person. You got someone like Paul, who for the past 10 years, all he wants to do is put you in his scaffold thing. You know, like that scaffold. And you know, once he gets you into that position, you're pretty fucked. Yeah. You were swearing, right?
Yeah. Fucking right.
It's like once Paul gets there, he's pretty dominant. Yeah. But you know that's his only go-to.
Yeah.
So if you can avoid that, you're gonna beat him up. But if you want world-class training, let him put you in that position and work your way out of that.
Yeah.
You know, like so. I like to train with everyone. Like everyone's got their own skills. I'll always explore their skills. Some people like Reeves, like doesn't matter where you go, you're gonna get. But I'll train with anyone. I don't necessarily need great training partners to feel like I can get great training.
Because we're having a chat lately, and a few of us keep talking about getting a bit of a regular thing going and get some sort of competition training of like specifics. And I think that's powerful too when you've got people that have got certain best skills, like you say.
Like I know with Pat, he's got great half guard. So if I want to have a tough round, play half guard.
He's very athletic too, Pat, and he bounces around.
If I don't, like he doesn't have a great guard other than like an open guard. So like it's what you want to do, you know.
We're going bad on Pat today, aren't we? He's got no guard and he sweeps the floor.
No guard.
And he sweeps the floor as well.
When we finish here, you can mop this bit up as well.
But yeah, so cool. So that covers, I think, a lot of what you've done, and maybe we'll dive back in because we're talking about doing some more episodes and whatnot, and pairing up on that. I want to talk to you about the UFC, bro. You a UFC fan?
Always.
I know you are, so I asked you a question I knew the answer to. But the big one that people are talking about right now is McGregor and Chandler. The injury thing, maybe ain't happening.
Is everyone talking about McGregor?
Well, I say that. When you're watching the same YouTube videos, your suggestions come up, don't they? So everything I hear is McGregor's injured and the fight's touch and go.
He's up. I haven't heard much about it. I heard he's out. I'm in an MMA group.
Oh, you've heard he's out.
I've seen, maybe I didn't read into it, but everyone wrote, "What do you not think of this?" That McGregor's out. He was seen out partying, and now he's out. That's what all I've read. So
I'm not so worried about them because that could be from a few months ago, right? I'm more worried about the thing that he's not turned up to the press conference.
I don't know. Like honestly, I'm not thinking about McGregor.
Oh, you're not?
As a UFC fan, I'm not.
Are you a McGregor hater?
I'm not a McGregor hater. I loved McGregor. I loved everything done. However, I think we're just living in the past. He's not been the McGregor that we all fell in love with since the Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Era.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think, and I think he knows that, and I think most people that have followed his career know that, because like he was all about the martial art before. I mean, obviously, I didn't know much. I don't know him, but from what when he was up and coming, I used to, like I said, I watched a lot of the stuff he did, a lot of the training he used to do, and a lot of the different aspects of the martial art, things that we laughed at, you know, like him doing the stuff in the park. And, we laugh at it, but he was a true martial artist on the rise with a hunger. Is he that person anymore? I think he thinks he's more of like a stand-up and bang sort of guy. Since he's been boxing, his style just doesn't look the same, and just doesn't look like he's got the same hunger or the same goals. And why would he? Because he's got everything in the world. So I'm not that bothered about Conor McGregor anymore. Like every time he fights, I will watch. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tune in and watch, but I'm not watching with the same hope. You know,
it's a different thing, isn't it?
It's a different thing. Like, come on, Dustin's just beat him up twice. I know he had the leg thing, but he didn't look great. You know what I mean?
He's not the same. He, like what you said, all that stuff in the park. I know a little bit about that because Ido Portal, the guy who trained him, I trained under him extensively. I went all over the world training camps with him. So I knew I was before McGregor doing that. So I knew it, and I was like all excited about it. But he had like when he fought Eddie Alvarez is a great example. He sort of floated in, didn't he? And he was like, nothing could bother him, the pressure he's under. And he's not that guy. I think that's one of the best performances ever in the UFC. That was unbelievable. But now, there's so many moving parts with that because he was on the dole like 10 years ago, right? When he came into the UFC.
Hunger. Wanted it.
He's got 3 kids now. He's world famous, all the money. You can't be the same guy, can you?
All of the criticism,
all the problems,
all of the everything. Like, he's not, Yeah, for me, I love McGregor and for what he's done. I'm not that excited about him anymore. Like him and Chandler, I was like, good match, I guess.
But prime Conor McGregor, you tell me what you think, should wipe the floor with Chandler, to me. Prime Conor McGregor.
Prime Conor McGregor, I don't think anyone was touching him.
What about Khabib, though? People like that.
Habib, what? When prime
Conor.
Well, Habib, if we're going to talk about that, I'm going to pick Habib.
Yeah, I was going to say, Khabib.
It's not even an argument because we've seen it. You know what I mean? Yeah. He wasn't. Was he considered still in his prime?
I mean, this was his first one after the Mayweather, his first MMA fight back.
They weren't that far, but I reckon he would have probably done better before the Mayweather fight. Yeah. I think he spent so long in the boxing ring, like he fell in love with his left hand before the boxing. He went into the boxing, he's now more boxing. His stance has changed. Even his stance, like how he stands and approaches the fight, it's more like, I'm just going to try and launch this left.
I just think when you've been in the sport that long as well, like your body can't do it maybe. Like injuries, how many little niggly injuries, like toes is he fucked up, knees is he tweaked. That catches you, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Them sort of things slow you down, or even if they don't slow you, they change you, right? You adapt to things and whatever. So, Yeah, I'm going McGregor on that one if it happens.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think McGregor beats. But that's the thing. I thought the matchup was like Chandler. He's lost to everyone good that he's fought in the UFC.
I think he's tailor-made for Conor, isn't he?
Yeah, it's perfect. He's perfect because he's not gonna, unless he was gonna wrestle, he's gonna stand and have a fight with Conor, and that's gonna work perfectly for him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought. So I wasn't that excited about it.
If
it was like Conor versus who could I don't know. Maybe Chandler's probably the best one. It could have been Islam would have destroyed him.
I don't think that's a good fight for Conor.
Islam would destroy him.
But I think that's where Conor's mindset is, right? Beat Chandler, he's going to get a title shot, and because of his fame.
Islam would destroy Conor.
I don't think that's a close fight. I think he ragdolls him.
But I think he would enjoy that as well.
Oh, for sure. Khabib in his corner. They love all that shit, wouldn't they? They love that.
I would rather have seen that. As much as I don't think Conor deserves to walk into the title fight.
Of 2 losses.
With 2 losses to Dustin Poirier, I feel like that I would have rather have seen that. But
I think that's why they're giving him the Chandler one.
Give him a Chandler
because it's a bit of a layup.
Build him up. Make it up. If he looks good against Chandler, we say, "Oh, let's give him
He's back. He's back.
Connor's back." But
Nah, I think his days are done. I'm with you there. So that card obviously is up in the air anyway. Let's fast forward to the next one, the 304. So we got Leon Edwards and Tom Aspinall flying the flag for England, haven't we?
That's here.
That's in Manchester. Yeah. But because I think it
how
was...
much tickets worth for that?
How much? Oh, crazy money.
Stupid.
Yeah.
My mate called me and said, he called me in the middle of the night and I woke up in the morning and said, why did you call me at night? Because I called you and I hung up because I saw the ticket price and I thought, I'm not paying for that. Ooh. It was in the grands.
Just for a standard seat.
I think the cheapest thing you could find on it was like £400 and it was way up in the...
And it's American time, so it's like the main event will start here at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Because it was supposed to be in Salt Lake City, but they moved it so it's still on American time, which is a bit mad.
So they don't care about us even when it's here?
Well, it's in Manchester. In London they do it our time, don't they? When it was Leon versus Usman, they put it on our time. But he's fighting now, and Tom Aspinall obviously defending the interim against, name escapes me, Curtis Blades, who he had a mad fight with before. A weird fight, sorry. Did you see that one? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember that.
So he comes out, he throws a kick like within 2 seconds, breaks his knee to pieces, and the fight's over.
I don't remember that fight.
So it was like maybe 2 years ago now. They started the fight, he came out, bang, through the kick. Tom Aspinall broke his knee. I think he had a knee injury anyway, but I think he was getting on with it. And then he fucked it against Curtis Blades. So now they're rematching, obviously, for the interim title. I think it's an interesting fight, but I can't see anything other than a Tom Aspinall.
Yeah, like when you're mentioning Tom Aspinall, Curtis Blades, I'm just thinking, Tom Aspinall wins that, I think.
Yep.
Quite confidently. And then the talks over what happens next for Tom, right? I guess. Because is he interim champ, right?
He's interim champ already.
So why is he fighting?
Because John Jones is still injured, and John Jones apparently... John Jones is coming back for Stipe, apparently, because that fight was already set when he got injured.
So he's just fighting Curtis Blades to wait, because as an interim champion, I guess the next fight...
Exactly. Should be for the title, yeah.
But okay, yeah. So that the Stipe and John Jones things are going to take precedent over that.
So let's touch on them quick. Stipe versus John Jones.
John Jones.
Yeah, I think Stipe's days are behind
him. Like the way people speak about this being a great fight would kind of depend on Stipe being Stipe. But he even like when he fought Cormier last, he seemed really old. He beat up Cormier, but like he just didn't look like the same guy. And how many years ago was that now?
A long time. I mean, yeah,
it feels like yesterday. When I think about these matches like Stipe and Cormier, in my head it wasn't that long ago. It was actually probably about 3 years ago.
More, because I think it was before the lockdowns, because there was a crowd there. And then after that...
Was it before lockdown?
Well, because he fought Francis in lockdown. So that was after, and he got knocked out. That was his last fight.
Like, my mind and timelines never correct.
But what it's like, man. They
so
blur.
Stipe, what, 5-6 years on?
Well, I mean, I think it's 3 years since he got done by Ngannou, and it was a bad one, right? And he's 43, I think.
Yeah, so I don't know. We're hoping that we see a version of Stipe that's going to challenge John Jones, but I don't really see it. And it's not like John Jones is in the best shape ever, but he is John Jones, and he is a great athlete.
Freak. I think he's the GOAT, yes?
Yeah. I feel like he's got routes to winning quite easily. I don't know. I'm not that excited. I should be excited about that fight. I'm not that excited about it.
Well, the one I'm excited for is if they both get through their fights, because we think they will, is against Aspinall. I think that's a great
that's
fight.
What I mean. Like, I feel like a lot of these matchups we're speaking of, I'm more excited for the results than the actual fight.
Yep.
I'm excited to see what happens next. For example, we spoke about Leon Edwards, but we didn't even speak about it. You mentioned it in this card coming up. I'm more interested to see Islam go up and challenge for a belt.
Me too.
Against Leon Edwards. Yeah. I'm more interested in that than I don't even know who Leon Edwards is fighting.
Bilal.
Oh, Bilal.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely not excited to see
No. No.
Edwards wins that.
Yeah, I think
do you
so.
agree?
Yeah, 100%. I
He
do.
wins that.
We saw it once. I know it was a weird one, but he was winning that fight. You could
and
see
it
how that
looked
fight
easy.
was going.
It looked easy, and I can't see Bilal Muhammad doing much to change that. I think that match is for Edwards to lose.
Yeah.
So I'm more excited to see Edwards finish that, and then the talks of Islam going up. And that's a match I want to see. I'm not excited a bit of seeing Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blades or Stipe and John Jones, but I'm excited if they both win their matches, we get to see that.
Yeah.
These are what, and I think this is where your haters will jump in. But I think Tom Aspinall will beat John Jones.
Oh, really?
Now,
I think he could. I do think he could.
I don't think Tom Aspinall could ever have spoke to John Jones in John Jones's era of his peak. I don't think so.
Okay.
So I will let you have that. But however, now an older version of John Jones, not as active. I think it's more of Tom Aspinall's time.
I could see him beating him, but at the same time, when I say that, I could see Cyril Gane beating him before, and then he beat him. And I've said this on him before. He beat him like I would beat a 14-year-old boy. It was like he had nothing for him, and I just think he's great. You know what I mean? And sometimes
he is great.
He'll find a way.
That's why we think it'd be a good matchup. But he is older. He's not actually that old, is he?
I think he's 36.
That's the thing. We say when we speak about John Jones, he's not actually that old.
He's just been around forever.
Yeah, his body.
And he's had injuries and whatnot. He's had 2 surgeries since he's been off 2.
His body it's not his age. It's actually like time. Yep. So maybe
I'd like to see him go out undefeated, just because that caps it off. But
don't get me wrong. I can easily see John Jones just beating.
Just giving it to him.
Yeah,
I could see. I could see it going like the Cyril Gane one, and it's going, oh yeah,
yeah. Oh that's definitely 100% a possibility. But like, I'd like to think Tom's like, I don't know. I've never. Do you know what it is? Tom. I don't know if it's because he's English or whatever. I didn't really pay much attention to Tom until not that long ago. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when you start watching, you think, oh, he actually moves quite quick for a big guy.
And he's 6'5", I think.
6'5", you don't really realise he's that big. He moves that quick. He's got a lot of experience and everything. I think, oh, this guy is actually quite legit. He could trouble someone like John Jones who might not take him as serious as he should.
I want to come back to the heavyweights, and I want to come back to the predictions on this, because there's something in the background that we get to. I've spoke about that a little bit, but I want your opinion on it.
That's still recording.
It's still recording, right? We're good. What's this, amateur hour? We're all good.
We're all good.
He's not used to this game, you know what I mean? You have to check.
I've had a lot of experience. I filmed for over an hour and it can't
I got you. This is not my first rodeo, son.
Excuse me.
He's checking cameras and drinking water on film, the whole deal. He ain't done this before, bless him.
The moment we're allowed to swear on camera and you grab your balls out, I'm allowed to drink water.
He exposed me. I've purposely sat sideways this whole fucking episode, and you've just done me like that. But so if we go to the Bilal Muhammad fight, we're going Leon, right? Kind of comfortable.
Very comfortable.
I think he stops him.
I'd be shocked if I woke up to Bilal Muhammad.
Yep. I got you.
And I say woke up because I'm not staying up.
Yeah, you're not staying. See, I don't stay up. I get up. I go to bed early.
I'm definitely not staying up. Right? In the UK, I was actually excited in the UK. I remember let's watch it. I think we can just have a little watch party.
But I do it the other way. Do you know what I'm saying? I get up at like 4 and start watching it.
I have done that a lot of times. Like if I try to stay up, I normally stay up, watch the prelims. I normally fall asleep around the time the main card starts, and I happen to wake up.
Yeah. And
that's
come
the
back.
last match.
Yeah.
Like, and I might fall asleep during it. Like it's a struggle, man. Like I'm a massive fan of the UFC, but the time.
It's better when it's in Saudi, or not Saudi. It's coming to Saudi, but it's been in Abu Dhabi and all that kind of time. It's good, isn't it? But so Islam versus Leon. Let's just say that all comes to fruition and it's happening. Oh, you think Islam beats him?
I've been speaking about Islam way before Islam was being mentioned.
Yep. I got you.
I've been talking about Islam, and I've been on a MMA podcast. And I've got all the receipts. Like I was talking about, watch when he comes in, watch this, watch. I was saying, you not like Khabib, watch when Islam comes in. Like, I'm a massive Islam fan. Do
you think he's better than Khabib?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I think he beat Islam. I made a bit of a noise.
I think he respects the people like he should. He's now the mentor.
Yeah.
However, like as the game evolves, I think Islam is like
the new breed,
a new version of Khabib. Like maybe he's not as good as Khabib in like.
He's not as dominant.
Yeah, he's not as good on ground control.
Yeah.
He's definitely a much better striker.
Mm-hmm.
He's a submission hunter. Mm-hmm. He's got an adapted style. Like he's very like the things that you see him do in the training rooms and stuff.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I don't think we haven't seen. If you only see Islam in the UFC,
he
haven't seen anything like
I think you're right there. I think you might be right.
We've not seen what he's capable of in the cage. He's got so many weapons in his toolbox, and his judo and all of this stuff, everything is crazy.
Yep. So Islam, next welterweight champion. Comment below. Tell us what you think.
I mean, what does he look like at the weight? I don't know.
I think he's huge. I think he's massive at the weight.
He's because he cuts. They cut
mad
a lot,
weight.
right?
Yeah, I think he's mad. I think some people have said he gets up to 90 kilos.
One thing I'd say about Leon Edwards, I do rate Leon Edwards.
I do, and he's big too. Apparently.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. People forget how big Leon Edwards actually is. It doesn't seem like he's that big until you actually look. He's huge.
And for anyone who doesn't know, he fights at 77 kilos, but he ain't 77 kilos. No. And if you see a 77 kilo fighter, this is big. This ain't like what you think it is, right? 77 kilos is we've been in. 170, 77 kilos, yeah.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
You know, I actually have no idea.
Yeah, so 70 kilos is 55 and 77.
It scares me because when I think if I was me, you would see they're huge. Yep. I don't do anything like that.
Yeah, but cut the weight, get in shape, you'll be fine. And do you know what I mean? I don't know if they're on supplements. We can get into that if you want.
Yeah.
You Sarden's gone now, son. I don't know.
I haven't. But I'd have to if I was going to do UFC to look like them.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Because I'm like Usman. When I realized how big Leon Edwards was when he stood next to Usman, because Usman's considered a big guy, right?
He is, but look at his legs. Yeah. He's got chicken legs.
Leon's
got big old legs, yeah.
And his back, he was big. He was big.
And there's a photo of Usman fighting when he won the title against Tyron Woodley. I know he dominated the fight, so it don't matter. But they're like clinched up and their legs are next to each other. And Tyron Woodley's got like tree trunk legs. He looks like his legs are about 4 times the size of Usman.
Yeah, Leon's a big guy, so that's the only thing I think. What does Islam look like?
Well, I think Islam's a big guy for the weight down, but Leon's a big guy for that weight. So it plays into it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
but I do agree. I think I would lean towards Islam on that one. Because I think style-wise, if he gets a hold of him, he ain't getting up.
Yeah, he's not getting up.
No, I don't think you can against them guys. But I want to bring it back to the heavyweights because the thing I wanted to touch on, the asterisk I had by it was Alex Pereira.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll go to heavyweight? And if he does he make a noise up there?
Yeah, 100%.
I think he could beat them all.
I think Alex Pereira, he's a problem in all of those ways. If he goes up, he'll still be a problem. It's just how he adapts the rest of his game. Like he started doing like wrestling defense, not really wrestling. It's just if anyone's gonna if Alex Pereira went and fought John Jones, I don't think he stands a chance.
I think John Jones beat him, but I could see him beating him as well because I think if he chins him, that power is unbelievable.
That's what I mean. If he hits, he's clearly got the power to stop anyone in that division. But like if John Jones wanted an easy route to victory, he's just
grab him.
He's gonna make it look like Cyril.
Yeah, he could exactly. Yeah, and against Tom Aspinall too. Tom Aspinall, I think, could completely dominate.
I think in my head, I've convinced myself Tom Aspinall's got wrestling.
He has got wrestling, but there's levels, right? Yeah, so how does he look against John Jones' wrestling? I don't know. Let's see. But he's a big, powerful man.
John Jones is a specimen.
Freak, isn't he? Just a freak, all around.
He's just a fighter. He just knows how to win. He's dirty as well. From what I hear, I've seen a lot of interviews of people talking about like people that fought John Jones.
Yeah.
Like apparently, it's not a nice experience.
Yeah.
Like when you hear someone like Rampage Jackson talking about how dirty John Jones is, like he's gonna win. He knows how to win.
Yeah.
He knows how to win a fight. He knows what to do.
And that's a skill in itself, isn't it? Knowing how to win, knowing how to find a way.
Even like these, like, are they called oblique kicks?
Yeah, to the knee. Yeah.
Like, man, he's trying to ruin your career.
Yeah, I was trying to fuck you.
He's stepping away from the sport, and he's actually trying to ruin your career. Yeah. Ruin a lot of people's careers. Like, I think about my knees, and if somebody was like to kick my knee backwards purposely, I'd hate them for life.
Yeah. I don't think John Jones gives a fuck, though.
I don't care. He's here to win, and some people are going to do whatever it takes to win, and some people treat it like a sport, and they're going to try and win. Like Dustin Poirier is a prime example. He tries to win like it's a sport. Because he complains every time someone does anything dirty. It's not in a real fight. Do you know what I mean?
But people don't realise the professional fighters, they look at them sometimes like nice people. Like, do you remember David Haye fighting Chisora at the press conference? Because the way David Haye looks, he looks quite pretty and nice, right? But did you see the way he went off when Derek Chisora got in his face? Like, these are fighters, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? Exactly. They're not fucking around with this kind of stuff. Best fight you've ever seen?
What, in the cage?
Best fight you've ever seen. It could be outside the fucking kebab house on a Saturday night if you want. Man. Best fight you've ever seen. But yeah, I was thinking cage or ring.
Best fight I've ever seen.
I've got one. I spoke to you about this before, and you went,
Go on. What was
that? Glover Teixeira versus Yuri Prohaska. Mental fight. Mental fight. That was a fucking mental fight.
I remember you telling me that's because I came in and said that was probably one of the best fights. A different fight. You went on to that.
I said that's the best fight I've ever seen, and you gave me that same.
I can't remember what I was talking about. it changes all the time. I've seen so many great fights. Like I think around that time was when Brandon Moreno and Ferguson. Right?
Figueiredo. Yeah, well, they fought 4 times, I think.
Yeah,
but
I think it was during one of those.
Yeah, one of them mental ones.
One of the best fights. I remember you.
Yeah, I was like, bro, sit down. Let me tell you a thing or two.
I don't know one of the best fights I've ever seen. Nothing's really jumping out of him.
No Gatty Wards, no nothing like that.
Well, that's boxing. They're legendary.
Yeah.
So I've watched all of those. Like when there are wars and stuff, like you can start looking at Sugar Ray and all of these big fights. I don't know. Nothing really stands out. You've trumped me there. All
right, best performance you've ever seen, and I'll put it to you a different way. Who's the best fighter in terms of a single fight? We touched on McGregor earlier, like something like that when he beat Eddie Alvarez.
Well, it depends what you're rating, like because McGregor, what he done to Jose Aldo, was over so soon that it's not really much to talk about. But if you actually think about what he's just done, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And he actually predicted that he's going to do that. He said he's going to overextend. I'm going to catch him with this shot. You see him practicing in the back room. For me, that is like perfect. Yeah. But at the same time, it's just one shot. So is it the best fight you've ever seen? Or, you know what I mean?
It's almost too perfect.
It's almost too perfect.
It hurts his argument,
If you think about what he's done, who he's done it to, and everything in the build-up around that is like a picture-perfect moment.
Yeah.
Like if I wanted to be an athlete and steal somebody's moment, I would love to have that in my locker.
That's the one, because you just completely... I always say Mike Tyson, Mike Spinks.
Okay.
Back in the day. You seen that one, the 91-second knockout?
Why?
Well, because it was supposed to be a close fight, and it was when Mike Tyson was at his peak, and he just like run through him. That's the one I always go to.
Yeah.
But the most important question, you fucking upset me on this one, bro. This whole episode's gone to shit. What football team you support? You motherfucker! Let me go.
I've never had a bad reaction.
That's not a bad one, to be fair. I was jumping the gun to be funny, but no. Crystal Palace, is that genuine? Or are you fucking with Chelsea? Come on, bro. Huh? You watched this program or what?
Chelsea. I support Crystal. I've never had a bad reaction for supporting Crystal.
Nah, Crystal. I was kind of fucking with you. I jumped the gun. Crystal Palace is cool.
Crystal Palace. It means I'm not that involved in the Premier League chats. You know what I mean? I don't get.
Don't like trophies.
No
nothing
banter around us. You know what I mean? We don't have like any of this back and forth. I'm just mid-table.
Is that your childhood team?
No, I've got pictures of me wearing a Man United top when I was like 4 or 5.
Oh, why?
I don't know.
Oh, you're 4 or 5. You don't have much to say, right? Your mum's dressing you. Yeah.
I didn't pick. I mean, and when I was like maybe like 11 to 14, maybe I remember I was maybe a bit older. I was a Manchester City fan. I got pictures of me wearing that.
Fucking dropped out of that one too early, man.
Because I've been Manchester City for me was from FIFA, and this is when they had Balotelli, Aguero, and Tevez.
Oh, you've probably been a bit older. You've probably been closer to 20, weren't you?
I don't know. I feel like I don't know how old I was, but I was purely based on the game FIFA.
Yeah.
That was my team on FIFA. So Man City is my team, and people were like scoring. I'm like, they're sick though, innit?
Yeah.
So only when I was adult, I actually deep it. I thought, who's my team? Crystal Palace is actually over there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna support this team. My best friend Max was a Palace fan. His dad was a Palace fan. And I promise you, in becoming a Palace fan, I stopped caring about the Premier League.
Yep.
When I was a Man City fan, I would love the Premier League. I was talking about I'd argue with anyone. Manchester United fans would argue, but you can't the argument always come down to you're a glory hunter that you've never been to Manchester.
Yeah.
Cool. Palace, I've been with Palace since as long as I could. Since I was about probably 22, 23.
Yeah. So you're a Palace boy.
And I've been a Palace fan for the last 10 or 15 years, and just being a Palace fan has made me fall out of love with the Premier League.
No more football when you support Palace.
I watch highlights. I never go and watch the. I go to the stadium and watch a game or two.
Oh, so you are a fan? Yeah, that counts. That counts.
I don't watch. I used to watch the Premier League all the time. I used to, and if I missed it, I'd watch Match of the Day.
And now you're whatever.
Now, somewhere along the line, maybe jiu-jitsu just become more of my focus. I haven't paid attention to the Premier League for about 3 or 4 years. But I do know that we are looking great in our highlights, and we've got these young talents. If we hold them and we start getting up to the top, I'll be there every week.
There's a lot of ifs in that sentence. You just come out in there.
There's a lot of ifs, but I do like how Palace look now. I think we finished 10th this year.
I don't know. Chelsea was struggling, man. We ended up 6th, but we was around 10th.
I think we finished 10th this year, and I remember looking at it.
Yeah,
we're creeping a little bit, but it's the saying. I don't ever fear we're getting relegated, and I don't ever have hope we're going to win. It's
a boring life.
It's a boring team to support. It isn't. You got to love it for different reasons. But I do like Palace, and I'll stick with it.
Do you walk around with a shirt on? Are you one of them? So you're a proper Palace fan. Good on you.
I support them like that. I just I just don't watch it weekly. That's the
Boom.
thing.
All right, mate. Lovely. Well, thank you very much for doing this, mate. Just before we go, plug your YouTube channels, whatever you want to shout out.
Yeah, like check out Bailey TV. Literally spelled as it says. That's my channel, and I've got my own podcast going with my brother called Chatterbox Weekly. So if you want to check those out, have a look.
Do the whole like, subscribe, and comment thing. Even if they're bad comments, they all count,
basically,
guys.
Like I was having a little chat with Willie before the show. Like he's got a few things to learn.
Listen. Hey, I've never checked the camera. Go back and watch every episode. I've never checked the camera, ever have I checked the camera. But, mate, thanks for doing this. Episode 12, Bosh. Thanks a lot, mate. Appreciate you. Cheers. Boom. That was a good one. Went on for